have a really big bag and it's very, very heavy. I think it's like 80 pounds. Can you guess what's in here? It's my typewriter. It's my typewriter from I think like 1910. And I brought this with me from Toronto. It was a gift given to me by my friend Kate. It was her family's typewriter. Her great aunt sold their player piano in the beginning of the 1900s so that she could buy this typewriter and have a job. And I love this thing. I use it, and it has fallen into a bit of disrepair. There are a few little quirks. So I brought it to the only storefront in New York City where you can walk in, look at typewriters, and have your typewriter fixed. Let's go inside and meet the owner. Ugh. Here on West 17th Street, just a little west of 6th Avenue, is a wonderful storefront that is kind of like stepping back in time, Gramercy Typewriter. And I'm here with the owner, Jay Schweitzer. Jay, is this a family business?
Yes, it is a family business since 1932.
Wow. And are you a descendant of the original owners?
Yes.
Your grandfather, your father?
Grandfather started it in 32. My father came in 59.
Wow. So when I first moved to New York, I brought my beloved typewriter from Toronto. It's an Underwood. I think it's from like 1910 or 1908. And it just needed a little fixing up. I brought it to Gramercy. They fixed it all up. I've used it consistently. And there are a couple of little things, like a couple of the keys are sticking. I thought I would just bring it in and have the ribbon changed and just leave it in your hands and make it new again.
Certainly. We'll be happy to take a look.
But while we're here, I thought it would also be great to share with people what you do, because I think a lot of people out there love the idea of owning a typewriter, but they don't really know what to look for. So my first question is, how do you feel about someone discovering a typewriter at, like, say, a flea market or a junk shop? Is it something to stay away from, or is it like safe to purchase something out there in the world?
Well, it's certainly a start because it gets people interested, and you have to start somewhere. That may not be a bad start to just get your feet wet and experience a manual typewriter. But it's certainly a far cry from what we have here. So these flea market finds, garage sales, thrift stores, there's certainly a lot of vintage typewriters out there, but they're as is and far from working 100%. So although you may find one for dollars, it's going to need hundreds to get it up to form.
Okay.
And that's where we come in. So of course we do repairs and maintenance.
Yep.
But we also sell fully reconditioned vintage typewriters, all makes and models from different eras. And since sales take place every day, the inventory is constantly rotating.
Okay. This is a dangerous place for me to be, because I only have a typewriter because it was gifted to me. But then I come into a shop like this and I see something like I'm trying not to look at this, but my eyes are like, look at this beautiful, it's called a Corona?
Yes.
And what can you tell us about this typewriter, please, Jay?
Corona Sterling, mid-30s model, beautiful maroon finish, curved top, beautiful black keys. Most of these were made in black. The maroon finish is a little more limited. Just a wonderful example of what they were making back in the day.
And this is its original case? Or?
Yes, it is.
Wow. So this gets closed up and you could actually carry it around like this?
Yes. And all the machines we'll sell will come complete with everything original on the machine, original carry case. Of course, we do install a brand new ribbon, and everything's ready to go. Whether you want to use this every day or whether you just want to use occasional typing, it's not going to matter. They're made so well that they could withstand daily use.
When I start to use my typewriter, I start to talk differently. operator, now listen here, see? That's like what ends up happening. It just feels like it. You're going a mile a minute and the keys are making that beautiful sound. May I ask what something like this would cost, or what this would cost? What this costs in the case?
Well, this particular model would be $795, but our prices do vary. There's machines for between $200 and $300, and they go up from there. Certainly machines, I'd say, that are 100 years old versus something that's a lot more modern from the 70s and 80s, there'll definitely be a big price difference.
Yep.
But rest assured, it doesn't matter. They're all going to work flawlessly and perform as they should, like they were new. And cosmetically, they're pretty beautiful too.
Absolutely. I've seen so many magazine spreads where they're showing a beautiful modern room, but then there's a typewriter sitting on a desk, and I'm assuming it's just a prop by a stylist that it's sitting there. But the wonderful thing is, if it works, it can be used, and it absolutely transforms the writing experience into something where you're escaping. Because when I'm typing on my computer, there's all kinds of distractions. Messages are coming in, you get tempted to just check the news or whatever, and you're pulled away from writing. But when I'm writing on this, I am really present in the sole task of writing something.
That's how a lot of our customers feel, and that's why they're coming here, because they do want to escape all the modern technology and get away and concentrate and focus and turn out some beautiful writing, whether it's personal or even for work.
The font that is used on screenplays for television and film, I mean, I don't know if I think they still are doing the same thing. The font is the Typewriter font. I forget what it's called. Is it Typewriter? It's like...
Well, a lot of times people will come in and reference font names asking if we have it. Of course, they're referencing the lingo from the computer.
Right.
Which doesn't really translate with the wording they used for typewriter fonts back in the day. But a lot of times it can be matched up to something that is identical or pretty close.
Really?
Yes.
Were there different fonts for different typewriters?
Yes.
Wow.
There was your standard 12-pitch elite font, as it was called, pretty much a mainstay for business and in the office world. And then something slightly larger was a 10-pitch pica font. Wanted things just a little bit larger, a little more standing out. And then there were even fonts that were special ordered back in the day, such as cursive, script, italic, all capital letters. And fast forward to now, those rare fonts are kind of hard to find and will certainly be at a premium.
Are they interchangeable? Like if I brought you this typewriter and I said, I would like a different font for this typewriter, is there a place where you pull off the actual letter forms and add different ones? Or does it have to be the whole arm?
It's made in a way where when it comes from the factory, we tell people that's the font. Of course, the same exact machine could come in a different font style. So you really have to look and see what's on the type bars, or even just type on the machine to understand what font it is. As far as somebody coming to us and saying, this is my typewriter and I'd like you to change the font to something else.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that because we feel that this is how it left the factory. Everything is so fine-tuned and precision perfect that by doing something like that, it'll work, but it may not be perfect. And we strive for perfection here. I'd sooner tell the customer that it would probably be better to seek the machine that's already in the font style you're looking for than to do that big operation.
Yeah. May I show you my typewriter, please?
Please, let's take a look.
Okay. Okay, so, I go everywhere on my bike. Everywhere. Like, I'll ride to Brooklyn on my bike from the Upper West Side. But when I thought, how do I take this down to Jay? And I was like, I cannot put this on my bike. The bike would fall over.
That's true.
It's just so heavy.
Back in the day, a machine like this, the workplace couldn't be without them. So even a small company would have a few, and a large company would have hundreds.
Okay.
And they'd be on every single desk. So although we look at these machines and say, wow, 100 years old, this is amazing and it still works, but they did make them in the millions.
Really?
Yes.
Millions.
Very mass produced.
Okay.
Absolutely. If you think about it, if they had a typewriter on every desk, and it's just New York City, what about the whole country?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were really, really made in big numbers. And the great thing about these was you didn't have to upgrade every other year.
Yeah.
They just kept on working and would get serviced on site. The technician would actually come to the office because, as you know, bringing it to the actual shop is somewhat cumbersome. And the technician would come on site, and if the office had 50, 100 machines, they'd go desk to desk to desk and changing the ribbon and cleaning the type and making any necessary adjustments. This particular model, it was a very successful line for Underwood. So not only did they make a lot of them, but it went on for years producing this same exact model. Of course, over the years, just some subtle differences, perhaps equivalent to the car manufacturers. Every few years, they'll change the body a little bit, or the headlights, taillights, and what have you. The typewriters were doing the same thing. This particular machine, as I look at the keyboard and the body and whatnot, I could see some extra features on this one that other models wouldn't have. And right away, I see these 5 keys above the row of numbers. And most of these models wouldn't have this here. It would just be your standard 4 rows of keys. So these are tabulator features to make columns and whatnot. So when I see that, it feels like this was in the workplace, possibly doing bookkeeping or accounting work, among other things too. And that feature was appealing to that business at the time. Remarkably, it's held up very well. It looks great. Structurally, it looks like it's all there. I think we serviced this for you about a decade ago.
Yeah.
So it seems like a good time to give it another look-see.
Okay.
And see what's going on and see if there's any maintenance that's needed.
I know there definitely is, because I remember when the last time I was using it, it wouldn't shift to the next line, and there were just a few things that I knew were off, so I didn't push it, and I just kind of stopped using it, and I thought I'll take it in. There are a few tiny little things. It's missing one of its felt pads. Like it keeps going like this.
Sure.
If you could address that possibly, please.
Absolutely.
And just so that it's even again, and then. If you could also replace the ribbon.
Sure.
But I do love these metal canisters. Do they still make them like this?
Oh, no, these are long gone, but...
Because I don't want plastic in here.
Sure. No, it should be period precise to the machine, and we'll definitely save those spools and put fresh ribbon on the existing ones.
So that's possible.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then does this dry up? I think you guys replaced this. I think 10 years ago this was the main thing, that the old one was so dry that it wasn't offering any cushion, because this is rubber, right?
Yes.
And this is what the keys are hitting?
Correct.
So if it's too hard, it's not serving its purpose. If it's all dried and shriveled up, is that correct? I think it was cracked.
That's correct. And the machine holds up. It's all metal and steel here.
Yep.
But rubber components over time, they get dry, they crack, they get hardened, and ultimately that will affect print quality. So we'll address that, and the feet will keep it balanced. It's certainly normal to see this because it's such a heavy machine.
Yeah.
And they're sitting on rubber feet. So again, somewhere here and with the balance and whatnot. But that will definitely be addressed. And look, it's natural for all these type bars here and type slugs to get caked in
With ink?
with old ribbon residue. And when that's not cleaned out and that builds up over the decades,
Yeah.
you won't get nice clear print. So some people think, oh, it's just a question of changing the ribbon. But
Yeah.
no, you really want to do everything.
Wow. I love that, when I sit at my desk and I'm doing this and then this happens, I wonder what the neighbors think. They just, what is going on down there?
Sure.
But I do feel like the building that I live in is from 1920.
Oh,
So I do
great.
feel like there's something about this typewriter being at my desk within those walls where everyone's kind of singing and happy. Something's happening.
Absolutely. Well, if I was your neighbor, it would be a very pleasant sounding experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it so much. So Jay, I'm just going to leave this with you.
Oh, absolutely.
And anything else that you see, like if you see anything else that needs work or fixing or replacing, please just go ahead and
Oh, sure.
and
Because I like to listen to your concerns,
yep.
but of course I address everything you mentioned, but we check everything inside and out and make sure the machine is working to its fullest. And that's the beauty of these machines. They could be 100 years old and they could still work as good as they were when they left the factory.
Yeah. I love that you're still here. There were so many workshops and niche artisanal trades that were here in Manhattan, like caning chairs. You could, I think in the 20s, you could take your chair and have it recaned, and almost all of them are gone. So the very fact that this is still here, that if you find an old typewriter and you're intrigued and it's not a lot of money, I would say bring it here and invest in having it brought back to life, because the person actually exists that can do that. And I assure you that when you take it home and you start using it, you will experience something that is unlike anything else. It is technology. It's technology, but it's the kind of technology that I actually love.
We have a lot of machines that come in that are sentimental, family heirlooms, been with families for generations. And to see that they're handing them off to their grandchildren who are loving it and using it and have it on their desk. And it's even when it's not being used, it's really something that brightens up the room and has so much history. So we're seeing that consistently throughout the week.
I love that it was made to last. I love that this thing was made to actually last, and that over 100 years later, it's still here. Someone can still fix it. I'll take it home and I'll use it, and it's solid. I bought a laptop 2 years ago, and I had to take it in last week because it was all buggy, and they said, actually, you should probably just trade it in and get a new one. 2 years. 2 years.
Yes. Unfortunately, the quality of products that are being sold now has made things disposable.
Yeah.
And you may even like that product very much.
I don't.
Or not.
I use it reluctantly. I
Or
don't
not.
like it.
Right. But whatever it may be, it could be a copy machine, a printer,
Yeah.
a phone, a laptop, computer, whatnot. The unfortunate thing is we live in a world now where you better not get too used to it, because there's going to come a time you're going to be forced to replace it. Or the technology will make it so it's obsolete. Here, that's never going to happen.
So, Jay, thank you so much.
A pleasure as always.
It's been so nice to have you dive deep into typewriters, and
Thank you.
I can't wait to see what this looks like when it's
You're
done.
going to love it when it's done, and I hope you use it for decades to come.
I will. Thanks, Jay.
My pleasure.